having the guys Operation Pour here on the mountain. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about kit. I'm wearing this FLC. Just for reference, I got this in the mail today. I'm just now setting it up. I had a FLC or a FLIC. It goes by FLIC as well. It stands for Fighting Load Carrier. It was issued in the U.S. Army. I don't know if they still make multicam variants, but as you can see, they definitely made UCP. I had one of these when I was in the military, and then I went to a TAPS rig right before I got out. So yeah, I'm old. I know, I'm old. But essentially, this came in the mail today, and I was setting it up, and I thought I just had some issues and some fixes for some stuff that I've seen. So this is all with a prepared citizen guerrilla, Minuteman-esque. This is for those kind of setups and that kind of thinking. And a lot of people don't understand because of logistics and other reasons, but mainly logistics. You can't just set up everything like you were when you were in the military. That's not how that works. So one of the biggest things that I see that's an issue out of the two main ones is hydration. Currently, I don't even have a bottle of water on me, but I'm not doing FTX. I'm not at war. I just wanted some cool footage. But when I set this up, I'm going to have a canteen pouch on it. You definitely want some hydration on you at all times. It's just something to think about. Another thing is, and something I don't see in a lot of kits, and when I do see it, it's very minimal, is medical or first aid. A lot of people will just get a tourniquet, some gauze, and call it a day. But that is not what you guys want to do. You want to get like a EMT size bag basically in your rucksack, because if you're out there in the field and you're a Minuteman and you get shot, you're probably going to die unless you have a mobile doctor's office with you. Now that's hyperbole, okay, but we really need to sit here and think about how much medical equipment you need. You need nasal passage airways, NPAs. You need decompression needles. You need to know how to do the decompression needles. Pretty much if you were in the Army Combat Lifesaver class, that is what I would recommend for the average prepared citizen, some good medical training. I'm not saying enroll in EMT school just to be prepared, even though that would be amazing, but have a good medical basis. A tourniquet and some gauze, even though the main killer on the battlefield is bleeding, hemorrhaging, massive hemorrhaging, that's not going to cut it. And sometimes it takes more than one tourniquet. My cousin was in Afghanistan, and he said if someone's leg blew off, he was in the Marine Corps, he said if somebody got badly injured or blown up, a lot of the times you would have to use 2 or 3 tourniquets to actually stop the bleeding. So it's just something to think about. Another thing is, this is a standard issue. I'm trying to sit up a little bit. This is a standard issue IFAC. This is what I had when I was in the military, all right, when I was in the Army. This is good for a soldier. Everything that comes in there is good for a soldier, but like I said, for a Minuteman or somebody without logistics or a hospital nearby, you're going to want more than that. Now, why do I say this? Exactly, your March protocol. Massive hemorrhage is number 1. Airway, respiratory, all that good jazz. I'm not going over the March protocol, but yes. Okay. But it's simple. You need more stuff. You need chewy and lickies if your blood sugar gets too low. You need, at the very least, antibiotics, Band-Aids, ouchie scratchies, as well as stuff if you actually get shot. You need chest seals, Israeli bandages, stuff to protect your eyes, the eye patch you get if you're a combat lifesaver in the military, just stuff like that. You really want to do your own research. I'll try to pop up a list of stuff or like a diagram of just all the stuff. I mean, there's like at least 50 things you got to put in that bastard, but it's a lot better to have that than just a tourniquet and some gauze. That's not good. Some alcohol pads, like I said, antibacterial stuff, actual antibiotics in there, ibuprofen, heck, saline if you can fit it. I mean, like, seriously, your individual first aid kit is for you, the individual, especially if your team, your mutual assistance group, whatever you call yourselves, doesn't have a medic. You're going to need to know that for your buddies, how to do all that for your buddies, and it's their duty to know it for you too, to use all that, to know how to use all that equipment and to be very good at doing it. There is so much that goes into this guerrilla warfare concept, but medical is a very big one. And also it's something that you use, day in, day out. Like seriously, you work in a factory, somebody collapses, what do? I mean, this is literal stuff that could save lives, not just on the battlefield, but in everyday life. That is why it's very important to know at least basic first aid, but I would suggest a more advanced first aid course, or how to stabilize somebody to get them to a hospital. Long-term care, that's a whole different thing. That's like nursing and stuff like that. I'm not saying go to nursing school, guys. I'm just saying that you really need to have some medical knowledge. It's something that I need to refresh myself on personally. That's not why I'm out here spitting facts. It's just I do see a lot of the time first aid kits and stuff is like the bare minimum. It's literally a tourniquet and some gauze or something like that, and it's a no-go, guys. You're going to get yourself killed. No, I know arguments if you get shot even in the arm and it's crap hits the fan, there's no hospital open, you're going to die. I understand that if it's that bad, but right now it looks like things are blowing up with all the business from other countries and stuff like that heating up. Not even the infighting and the Civil War and the left versus right and religion. It's not even that anymore. It's a mold of all that right now. And the world needs a lot of love. It needs more God. It needs more Jesus in it. I mean, amen on that. But that's just the simple fact, guys. You need to seek God. But anyways, for the kit, first aid, that's number one. You need to upgrade that first aid. It needs to look like a fat first aid kit that you take on a camping trip with you, with some stuff for massive hemorrhages or stuff for eye injuries and stuff like that. Combat Lifesaver bag, CLS bag, look it up. Everything that's in there, that's what I would recommend. And then plus some other luxuries, oh man, icy hot, stuff like that. If you have a medical condition, extra medicine, if you can get your hands on it for whatever that is, that would be good. Or at least some herbal supplements that that helps. I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing anything. I'm not a lawyer either. None of this is legal advice. Just heed my warning. It might be good to have that in your bag, in your kit, on your person at all times. If you're allergic to stuff, EpiPen. If you are massively allergic to waspers and you don't have an EpiPen on your kit, what the hell are you even doing? I mean, seriously. Just use your noggin, okay? So how would you fit all this extra gear? And another thing, this is the other thing besides hydration and first aid. I just got to hit this off. While it's cool to get out here and have a ton of mags, as you can see, I have 13 magazines. Well, I have the capacity to hold 13 plus one in the weapon. So this load I currently have set up, that I just had set up, all this came in the mail today. 14 mags total. That's pretty good, honestly, for a put on and zip, or if I want plates, I can put slick plates on, put it over, however I want to do it. Biggest thing is when I'm running the weapon, especially if I plan on shooting all that ammo to sustain myself in a firefight, malfunctions do happen. What am I going to do if there's a double feed? What am I going to do if my extractor is not working on a round for some reason and there's one stuck in the chamber? I'm going to have a cleaning rod or some kind of rod to press down in the barrel and get that casing out. That's the only way that's going to work. You can sit here, theoretically, yes, and try to hammer it against a rock, but sometimes that just doesn't work. It might work most of the time, but it's not going to work all the time. Sometimes you have to have something in there in the muzzle to get that round out or get that casing out to where you can keep on fighting. Yes, secondaries are a thing. Secondaries are good in a lot of cases. However, you have to get your main rig up and going again. So having extra parts, I would even recommend carrying a whole extra bolt carrier group so you don't have to run diagnostics when you're in the fight. If your BCG shatters to pieces for some reason because it wasn't in spec, or it has 20,000 rounds out of it and it just can't take it anymore, I'm tired, boss, you know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to piece it together or whatever, throw it away and slap in that new one. I would recommend at least having a whole other BCG completed, whether it's in your pocket or a sustainment pouch, as well as a oil, lubricant, CLP, whatever you want to use, and cleaning wipes, a cleaning kit, and then maybe a multi-tool in there as well, just for the AR platform or whatever platform you're running, and then maybe even some carbon scrapers, dental picks are good, stuff like that. You want a fat first aid kit with everything, all the bells and whistles that you can fit and comfortably carry for your own sake. You need hydration, Gatorade packets, potassium packets, stuff like that, just hydration packets, and water. And then you need a multi-tool cleaning kit. We'll just call that weapon sustainment items. Now, if you're running something else other than the AR, you're running an AK or whatever, there might be a specific tool that you need. I plan on getting an AK soon. If not this year, then next year definitely. But I'm completely new to that platform. I just dove into it like yesterday doing some research about it. That's just where I'm at with that. But with the AR platform, gas tubes. Gas tubes are the weak point of the AR platform, especially when you start getting down to like 10.5s. This is a 10.5, but any kind of AR pistol build or SBR build, the gas tube is likely to blow up, especially when you start high rates of fire. Not only that, the shorter gas system on the AR design beats the hell out of all these components. I would argue it does at least triple the damage that a 20-inch M16 would do each shot. We're talking about heat that's generating more than what the AR was designed to do. We're talking wear and tear on the buffer and everything. I mean, that thing's slamming back really hard. It has something to do with the dwell time and just the pressure in the gas tube. Like I said, extreme high rates of fire with these AR, these shorty ARs. They're known right here for the gas tube to literally just blow up, just grenade a little bit. But that is better than the barrel warping and everything else. So just something to keep in mind with these gas guns. The shorter you get, the more dangerous they are for you and you as the shooter. Big argument I make is the AR platform was designed with a 20-inch barrel and very specific cartridge pressures and a very specific grain weight. And it seems like over the last couple decades we've really stretched and pushed what exactly the platform can do, and that's cool. That is cool, don't get me wrong, that's awesome, that I can have this and actually shoot out of a barrel that was basically half of what it should be shooting out of. But the biggest thing is it was designed for a 20-inch barrel. It was designed for an A2 style buffer, you know what I'm saying? We just keep cutting it shorter and shorter and adding more pressure in the cartridges. I've seen something about some new composite like steel cased ammunition for the AR, the Thunder Shock or whatever. I'm not going to be shooting that because that kind of scares me. You're asking for the whole upper receiver to grenade in your face at that point, especially when you start adding outer battery detonations with super safeties and FRTs like we're seeing. Don't do that. But anyways, I kind of got off track. I'm going to keep all that in there because that's very important information. So essentially what you need to add, upgrade your first aid kit, okay? Upgrade your sustainment, your weapon sustainment specifically. We went over that. And then hydration. Just make sure you're carrying that. Now this is all based around this. I see a lot of people posting kit and it looks slick, it looks awesome, but like I said, they either don't have any medical whatsoever, it's just a ton of magazines all the way around, or they don't have any hydration, they don't even have a camelback or anything to carry water with them. It's just simple stuff like that. I'm not harping on you guys, I'm just saying it probably would be a good idea. I don't know what your mission set is, mission dictates gear, MET-TC, you know the whole drill, but that's just how it is, guys. Another thing is, I'll probably do a whole separate video on this flick and the history. This waist pack back here, I don't know if you can see that. This waist pack would be good for both sustainment items on one side and then medical items on the other side. It is so big. Or honestly, you could have, whatever you want medical wise in one of these waist packs. They're huge. I mean, I'll try to pop up a picture or get like actual dimensions somewhere. But these things are crazy good. I've been after one of these forever, and with this whole kit that was bought for me by a viewer, I am extremely, extremely appreciative, because I've been wanting specifically the waist pack. I already have a flick, but specifically the waist pack for a long time. Thank you so much. But anyways, God bless you. Au revoir. Peace out. Let me know down below. Seriously, let me know down below what you think is a very, very underrated kit item. It could be something very specific, or it could be something that you see a lot of people are just missing. Like I said, for me, I've seen people carrying tons of ammo, 300, 400, 500 rounds of ammo, and they have no medical, nothing else. It's just ammo, and that's not exactly where you want to be. You want a balance of everything. Yes, you want a lot of ammo, but you need a balance. Peace out. If you're anything like me, you like to train and push yourself. Whether that's rucking on a climb, weightlifting, sprints, whatever I'm doing, I always give it my all. It's going to test my limits in more ways than one. And yes, while shooting is glamorous and range time is fun, the simple fact is, when it comes down to it, fitness is far, far more important to protect your loved ones. Pulling that car off of your spouse, opening that stubborn pickle jar, being able to physically dominate when the time comes. Many, many things in everyday life require strength, not just the guerrilla mindset or the Minuteman mindset. And while you need to be consuming decent food, and a diet does help, this right here is the key ingredient to push you to the next level. Operation Pour is sponsored by Bucked Up Supplements. I've been using these 4 years for weightlifting, for rucks, and I can testify right here, right now, they work, and they work very well. It doesn't matter your goals, you can custom fit a supplement regimen for you. Male, female, it does not matter. Use my code CASH22 during checkout at buckedup.com to enhance your ruck and your Minuteman capability. Not to mention, I really appreciate it. It helps support the channel, and it saves you a decent amount of greenback if you are already buying the supplements. Definitely check it out. Personally, I like the OG Bucked Up and the Banff. The Banff has nootropics, and that deer antler velvet hits like no other and boosts recovery. Feel like one with nature on that bad boy. Thank you for watching, and God bless.